I'm sorry?
Is Frank Willow your attorney?
Yes, Frank is my attorney.
Yeah, I thought he was raised his hand and signed it. I think we promoted him. Okay. So I'm gonna read a quick summary here. 302 Broome Street LLC doing business as Fellow is seeking a full premises license for the premises located at 302 Broome Street between Forsyth and Elder Street. It's an application for an establishment up to 140 people, 2 floors containing 29 tables and 131 seats, including 2 bars with 20 seats and 16 stools, with a full kitchen and food prep area serving food during knowledge of operation. No television with live music, DJs, recorded background music. There are 16 floor premises licenses within 500 feet. This location previously housed the restaurant Stone Pizza, Omar's, and Better Days. The latter of the two, which both had full on-premises liquor license. It has never held a license before, but does have restaurant experience. 34 residents who live within 2 blocks signed a petition in favor. It will operate as an American food restaurant. Hours of operation, opening no later than 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. 12 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, closing 4 a.m. Thursday through Saturday, and 2 a.m. Sunday through Wednesday. So 2 a.m. during the week, 4 a.m. on the weekends. It will not use any outdoor space for commercial use. Will close the front the stock doors and windows at 10 p.m. Will play live music and have DJs at entertainment level. Will not have corporate party buses. Will not have happy hours. So, okay. Based on that brief summary, is there anything you'd like to add, change, correct?
No, that's correct.
Okay, right.
It was accurate, Clint.
Okay. Is there anyone here? Okay, so that being said, we're going to move to the public. Is there anyone here from the public who would like to speak to this item? Thank you for patiently waiting until 10:45. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I think we have.
For the timing.
Hey guys.
We have, I think I'm sorry, is it Armor?
Yeah, it's Amr Sultan, that's right.
We got a couple of emails on this.
Yes.
Right. So it's 2 minutes.
So Armor, you can go ahead and speak. We're going to give you up 2 minutes.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank everyone for their time this evening and the opportunity to just speak on this application. I'm a resident at 302 Broome Street and have been for 4 years. And as with the tenants in the building, we've had several pressing and unheard concerns with previous businesses, as well as the property group that handled Chris Barrett's previous operation called Stone Pizza. And that business is operated on the first floor and basement floor of our building. Although I understand that, active and past complaints that have been filed with the Department of Buildings, the Department of Transportation, the Department of Sanitation, as well as the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, may not directly affect the decision of this specific licensure. This business has, in the past egregiously overstepped the boundaries from which they operate. And if you guys could clarify, it sounds like you're maybe buying the business off of them, or I'm not entirely sure, but you could clarify after I'm finished. They allowed the indoor use of tobacco and marijuana products, which the smell of these products rose through the building and lingered for days on end, which violated the Article 13 of Public Health Law, which is the Clean Indoor Act, or Clear Indoor Air Act, sorry. The business also operated on weekends or Thursdays only, and because of that, they'd be placing a full operating restaurant's weekend of trash outside early for days on end. Because of that, the Department of Sanitation, had several complaints filed, and they would place it early because the business doesn't operate during the week, nor does it have operators during the week. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the neighborhood, but I love the neighborhood again, but the block has had trouble with a lot of unhoused peoples that also struggle with substance abuse and other mental health issues, where they will pick through the trash, etc., and then spread it all over the block. And then that also furthers the Department of Sanitation's decision to not collect trash. There have also been several noise complaints over the years. I only have like 2 more things, and then I'll wrap up. I'll be quick, I'm sorry. Yeah, no worries. But essentially, we've dealt with this before, where these businesses disguise themselves as restaurants, where the real concept behind it is a late night club. And we have issues with egress out of the building because the business has an egress that leads into the residential portion of the building. We've had inebriated customers or patrons end up in the residential side of the building. And on top of that, again, we have only one main egress and entrance for our building that is usually blocked up by a long queue of patrons waiting to get into that specific business. And we've dealt with this for years on end with a real smoke and mirrors type of business, quite literally in Chris Barrett's scenario, because there's smoking inside. But yeah, I'm not alone with these sentiments, and I strongly urge the SLA and both the DCA to reject this application and kind of look further into it, and also audit the existing stipulations.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, when you reported the smoke to the Department of Health, did you get a response?
I did, and they said within 60 days or 90 days that they would have someone out to try and issue a warning, and then they had warnings issued in the past, and then beyond that, it's hard to catch them when they're open because they did not list hours of operation. They kind of opened on Instagram when they wanted to. They would promote that they were open.
They're going further. Indeed, it is documented though. The Department of Health did issue warnings. It is documented.
Yes.
Okay. And just, going on to the next is Odine.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I'm owner of one of the residential units. We've owned the property for over 5 years, and we've kept it as a family property until last year. And the major reason why we ended up, my son leaving the property, was because of the constant smell and disgust and hygiene of the units below, the stone pizza. As far as I can see and understand now, that this new operations, again, have no knowledge how they relate, have no knowledge whether they're still going to keep doing stone pizzas. But it's very concerning to hear that there's going to be 140 people there. I mean, this is a residential block majority. There's 8 units of us, so it's residential. And to see 140 people just about there nearly every evening, the noise level and everything's disturbing. In addition, the current tenants, they have outstandings. They have caused a huge amount of grief within the residential block of people because they were not giving the assurances to the insurance company re their fire hazards that we needed certificates, and we nearly lost insurance of that, which meant that we were breaching our mortgages. They have got no consideration of the residents who live there, in my opinion. I can think, I can name on that there's a building violation code still out there that they haven't met. So, and as they said, we've had health boards. I mean, they've really given no consideration to us and the neighbourhood, which does have a very large, diverse population of people, and having a restaurant or nightclub or whatever this is going to be, because 140 people will end up being a nightclub there, is only going to cause more distress around our neighbourhood. And that's a problem. A big problem.
Thank you, Odine. Thank you. So I want to clarify one thing, something. Stone Pizza has been around for many years. We've had a location here in a different area of the East Village, and it was very difficult because they were operating, they didn't have a liquor license, so we had no say or control. They never came to us. They were operating illegally before cannabis was even legalized. And even then, when it's been legalized, it still has been legalized for on-site consumption as they have been operating. So I'm not saying I'm not defending you or saying anything for or against that. I'm just saying that's a very, very different business. With this location, we at least have some say, and there are state agencies that know what to do and control the liquor laws. So I understand the issues you've dealt with, and I'm not saying necessarily this is going to be any better, but I can say it can be more controlled and different than what you experienced with Stone Pizza.
Well, I'm going to be very honest. From our current experience, right up to date, we're not seeing any change. Yes? I mean, we're still having problems. They're still putting litter out. They're not doing anything. They're not paying their bills. So us residential are covering the cost of the place. So I'm sorry, they have very little respect for us, and I don't believe that they will either change. Yes?
But I understand that I will say one thing, that in one way though, that does have nothing to do with this current applicant.
It may not, but it's showing the character of the person, which means what you give. If you approve a license, don't go adhere to whatever you say. They will continue to do what they want to do. It has been shown constantly. So just show character of person or business behavior.
I want to clarify something, Odin. This applicant is not there currently. He is not operating there.
Well, he is operating. He's put it for 302 Broome Street. Has he not?
No, it's a new applicant.
He wants to open up something new there.
This is a new applicant that currently has not been operating at 302 Broome Street at all. He's applying to operate there
To replace.
what has been there.
If I can also offer to you, if you're working with agencies, even if there's no license, and you're not getting a good response, the community board can help you. So we could have worked with Department of Health to make sure that the smoking stopped, that they got large pots, that kind of thing. So in the future, I hope that we don't have those problems again, but in the future, the community board can help you with those problems.
Okay. Well, then coming back, if this is meant to be a new application and Stone Pizza is meant to have gone, I'm not living there currently, so I can't validate whether that statement's correct or not. Other residents could. 140 people, 2 floors. This is going to be a nightclub. And I'm sorry, as a resident living there, I mean, we've really had to put city windows in. It's noisy. There's going to be a lot of unrest there in that neighbourhood. There's a lot of diverse people, so it causes a lot of unrest. There's only, as they said, one escort into the place. They can come up to our place through the lift. Yeah, there's not proper security to keep that restaurant within the restaurant.
I know I asked you more questions, but we're going to move on now. I'm sorry. Thank you. We have many other people to speak, so. Next person to speak, Jeffrey Andy.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. I'd just like to reiterate on what we've heard from the other owners. I'm an owner at Broome Street as well. We've put in, I mean, the amount of noise and the past disruption. I mean, this property has a history, I'm sure. I know there was a lot of police complaints in the past. I know it's not the same operator, but a lot of the same issues are going to remain. Access to the building is difficult. As soon as they operate it late at night, it is noisy. We had to put in city windows, and even that, because of the level of noise that's generated from the property. I don't know whether the property has been ever certified with the correct levels of noise dampening. 4 a.m, this is going to be a nightclub. Why else would you ask for a 4 a.m. license?
Okay, thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you.
And with that becomes sidewalk issues that were traditionally recorded there, and as I said, access issues and inappropriate behaviour.
Yes.
There needs to be some way that they can stop people accessing the building. That is one of the problems.
If we decide to move forward with that, would be something we would address. So we can discuss that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Those issues. Okay, next we have Catherine.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, you can. Please go ahead.
Okay, so I've been a tenant in this building on the 6th floor since 2017, and I've seen it all, but never, ever. And I've been in the Lower East Side my whole life, but never have I seen the utter lack of transparency, except for the utter lack of transparency, the disgust, the filth, the attitude. No one not really caring how, if they're getting us sick or not. Our constant complaint about Stone Pizza, and I understand, Ed, this is not, you're not Stone Pizza, but how come you didn't come to us? Why didn't you talk to us and, you know, try and get our signatures? How many signatures did you get? I would like to see the floor plans. I want to see who's responsible to remove the stuff that's on the roof that almost knocked which caused structural damage to my apartment. And these people just left it there. So is it the same management company? Is it the same landlord, but different operator? No, it's got to be wrapped up. We want whoever, I believe, and at least for me, I believe that there's a way to do it, and there's a way to work with the community, since we were here first. And but if you don't work with us, we're going to keep running into the same problem, and there's no transparency. Whether you think you have to give it to us or not, I mean, what does the diagrams look like? We would be the ones that would help you succeed. However, not feeling safe coming into my apartment, not being able to access it, waiting for somebody to like turn the corner, take a defecate every single day. You know, we're all our packages are stolen. Who's going to protect me? People are just randomly loitering in the stairwell. I mean, can you imagine? And if I took you upstairs right now, CB3, you would see, and I will bring you upstairs, but you will see how terrible it is up there, and what I personally and my neighbor Ben has had to, who is actually moving out, we've had to endure. And that just goes for not only Stone Pizza, but Omar's was kind of cooler, but happy days or happy endings. There was a girl that was raped. There was constant, like, it was just horrible. Constant, like,
So Catherine, we're gonna move on. So we have Documentary Girl next. And please, Documentary Girl, I'm not sure what your real name is, but if you can at least keep it focused to the application at hand. I understand you've had a lot of, and I'm not sure if you live in the building, but there's been a lot of issues. We've heard a lot of things, but unfortunately, a lot of the stuff we've heard is outside of our purview. So if you can keep this focused on this application, that would be great. Thank you. Please go ahead.
It's still me. I am a Documentary Girl. So my point being, to keep it on this application, 140, it's like deja vu. How are you going to control this?
Yeah. So I thought we had Catherine speaking. Yeah, no, it wasn't Catherine, that was Catherine. But she said it's still her. Oh, it's the same person? Oh, okay. We never. Okay, well, yes. So if you're Catherine, then that's fine. Okay. Thank you. So I think, is that everyone that is? Yeah, okay. Okay, so Frank, and to give you a chance to respond to all of that, I know there was a lot mentioned, so.
I'm sorry, but the occupancy here is only about 127. To start with. Secondly, as you rightly pointed out, we have nothing to do with this. This illegal.
One last person that raised their hand, we're gonna give them a quick 2 minutes, sorry, Frank. So Bailey, you have 2 minutes to speak, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I'm going to keep it short. I think everybody else has covered all the issues we've had for the last few years. Since it's a new establishment that's coming in, I understand. Our biggest issue is the noise. What are we going to do with the noise? Because we live above the restaurant. And when Omar's came in, they promised that there won't going to be any music after 11 o'clock because it's going to be a restaurant on the ground floor. And the music was going on all the way to 2 and 3 o'clock a.m. And the same thing with the last Stone Cold Pizza, whatever they called. So we can't sleep. It's very, very hard. We can't sleep. And that's amongst all the other problems, the weed and all the other problems. So that's all I want to address. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you for being brief. Okay, so now Frank and Ed, please give us a
sorry.
response to what you
Yeah,
just-
I'm trying to remember. I think one of the people had said there was 140 people or something like that. It's not. It's closer to 125, even less than that.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Obviously, what's there right.
I said 100 in my summary, so that if that was incorrect, I can.
Okay. And what's there right now is an illegal weed shop. It's
Right.
It's a freaking armpit right now, if you excuse my expression. We have absolutely no association with the current operation.
No, but is it an illegal shop or is it Stone? Is Stone Pizza still there?
Yeah, they're still currently there.
Yeah, so it's not even a weed shop. It's a full-fledged pizza shop that sells cannabis-infused pizza, cannabis-infused drinks, We've dealt with them on 4th Street for years before it was even legalized. We had an issue with them up here, so we know all about Stone Pizza. It's a little hard to do something about them, but anyways, go on, Frank. I'm saying it's a little more than even just an illegal weed shop. It brings in, it's a very different crowd too. So
Well, we might be replacing them.
Yes, I'm aware of that. I don't think that was clear to everyone else, but we on the committee are aware.
Yeah, we're still there. Can I ask about the exit? Where people mentioned an exit from this business into their residence, which sounds very strange. Is that true?
Did you? I used to represent one of these tenants. There cannot be access from the restaurant to the public stairway. Cannot happen to the public hallway. We will stipulate that will absolutely not happen. Residents of this building should be entitled to feel safe in their own building. I know what went on in the past was during COVID, and I believe the people who were there before were using the residential stairway there as a way to get around not being seen because you couldn't go into during COVID. So I don't know whether the pizza place was doing it. I do know that the place that was before the pizza place was doing it. It cannot happen, and we will absolutely stipulate that people do not use that entrance. Correct, Eddie?
Yes.
Yes,
There's an elevator on the plans though.
as you're right, Frank, that is illegal, but yes, that is something we would obviously ask of you that there is no access, or they are not using the residential.
What about access to the elevator?
What elevator? Can you describe what the elevator
There's an elevator in the plans.
in the plans in the record?
Just goes to the basement, right?
Yeah.
Just goes to the basement, doesn't go to the building.
Mm-hmm.
But is it from within the business or from the residential area?
From the plans, it looks like it's on our space.
I'm
You
sorry.
know, I can't tell. I think the architectural drawing, when it's the thick shaded, means it's out of the premises. Clint, I think you could correct me if I'm right.
The business is going into the residential. Are you saying that the business has to go into the residential part to access the basement?
Wait, Susan, say that again, you're breaking up.
Okay, are you using the basement for storage or anything?
No.
So you will not be going to the basement at all?
We're not using the,
We're,
we're not using the basement for storage. It's part of the licensed premises.
right.
So then, how do you have to go into the residential building to access the elevator?
Uh, we don't have to.
Eddie?
Oh, we don't have to. We don't need to use the elevator whatsoever. We could even block it off. It makes people feel safer. We fully intend to work with everyone in the building.
You can access the basement from within your business.
Yes, there's a set of
Yes.
stairs from the first floor going down. Yes.
So it sounds like there has to be part of the stipulations.
That's, yeah, we're happy to agree to
That
that.
would-
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a problem. I don't know that in the past that it was used that way. But
Yeah.
that's crazy. There's no way that should happen.
You would not use an exit into the residential building, and you would not use the elevator which accesses the residential building. You would agree to both of those things.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So anyways, sorry, I know we sidetracked you, Frank, but any other, Frank, or Ed, things you were gonna respond?
No, it's going organically. I'm done. Eddie, do you have anything?
No, it just sounds like there's been a lot of concerns, a lot of things that have happened over the years. Just, anything that does make the residents feel safer, anything that helps, I'm here to work with everyone. And again, we're not Stone Pizza, so anything you guys want to throw out that, makes you feel safer, we're open to work with you guys.
So I do have a question, and I'm not sure Frank or Ed, I'm not sure who completely filled out the application, but I do on there, you didn't specify, is this being planned on operating as a full service restaurant?
It is a full service restaurant. It's basically American Comfort.
Operate American Comfort, but you didn't check off I would operate a full service restaurant, so I wasn't really sure.
No, I missed it. This is at all times a full restaurant.
Yeah, that's the restaurant.
Full service restaurant serving American comfort food, with kitchen open and serving food during all hours of operation.
Yes.
Now, back to what you heard us discuss earlier, you're proposing 2 a.m. during the week, 4 a.m. on the weekends. You don't have any experience necessarily operating a licensed establishment.
Mm-hmm.
And those hours are late for even experienced operators. Is this something, are you willing to discuss that and go back? Would you be willing to accept some?
Yeah.
Wait, Eddie, you
wanna
have
hear-
experience in the industry.
I do have experience in the industry. I was predominantly I worked in finance for years, and then I was a consultant for restaurants, most notably Zuma. But I am open to discussing almost anything with the residents or whatever makes them feel, safer. We fully intend to work with the residents.
Okay, well, that's good. Then we can discuss those hours in a minute. But is there any other things that members of the committee have concerns or questions about?
The last 3 iterations of this space have been a problem, and it's a happy ending to owners. They lost their liquor license.
Yes.
Right? Because of their good COVID parties.
Yes.
And that, Stone Pizza, so this operator doesn't have any nightlife experience or licensed establishment experience, so I'd be supportive of cutting it. Okay.
So,
I'm saying, I just can't imagine. It's a fairly large space, I can't imagine.
well, I didn't get noise. I did noise crowds, one or two. Okay, so I know we just all kind of agree. I would be willing, my thought is to throw out 12 and 1. Is that something you would consider?
12,
Can you-
12 and 1. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, he wants, and that's the other thing, we need to get to the use, but, you know, they're asking for everything, DJs, live music, all those other things, which also, as part of what I was gonna go into, was that's, makes me question a full-service restaurant issue. So, I mean, you're saying full-service restaurant, but I know you were asking for all of those other things. Can you succinctly kind of just summarize what your actual thought is for what you want the space to be?
Yeah, it's basically a trendy restaurant with late night bites and food. You know, there really are very limited options if you want a good burger, a good steak after 1 in the morning. It would basically be like a nicer version of Blue Ribbon on Sullivan. That's one of my favorite restaurants. It's American comfort food, something like that. I think the building will actually enjoy it. And again, we're willing to work with all the residents on hours, on almost any stipulation. We're coming to be, we want to be welcomed into a neighborhood. And I know it sounds like Stone Pizza's been kind of a nuisance, and other people have been too, but this is going to be a trendy upscale restaurant that serves, high-end food, and we just want to create a fun atmosphere, and, that was the intention behind it. So,
What's that?
I'm sorry?
But we'd be willing to limit the DJs and the live music to a certain number per week.
Like, is it like, I don't know, like an acoustic guitar with a singer and a keyboard type of live music? Is that what you're envisioning, like for a restaurant live music, or like a venue?
The idea behind that was maybe in the upstairs do some live shows, sort of like how Mastro's does on 52nd. Just very, very fine dining, just very upscale, elevated dining. We could cut back on that too, if that's a sore point, but I thought that would be better than just DJs every night. Or, we just want something to make us more competitive, to stand out in the neighborhood.
How would you feel about the live music in the basement instead of the first floor?
So I checked with one of the residents of this residential, I just let him check the zoning now, and it is residential, so it is a little different than having it on Avenue Way or First Avenue. You're choosing a residential lot, and I do know I actually didn't get any complaints about Stone Pizza before that. We used to get from the other businesses complaints every day, so I know the business. And I know this is a new business, but it does very much impact the residents there. And it is you are choosing to open your business on a residential block, which is a number, we have, I think you said 50-something, business on 57. What? Okay, so we can't compare it with that. What we have to compare it to is something on a residential block.
Okay. I'm willing to hear out any suggestions. If you want to put it in the basement, we could do that. If you want to, if you want to modify it in any way, I'm willing to work with this community board.
The live music is better served. I think the live music is better served in the basement.
That's fine.
Further insulated from the resident.
So, I mean, that's a start, but I'm mainly concerned about the DJs. What are you proposing for DJs?
Just
I know
trendy.
you're saying you want it to be competitive, to keep you competitive, but I mean, to me, upscale restaurant doesn't necessarily in some ways jive with DJs.
Again, we're basing that off of SDK Midtown. When you walk in, you have a nice steak, but there's always DJ in the center. It's just something to make us stand out. And that was only going to be weekends, Friday, Saturday, but we could scale that a little bit. We could only put that in the basement. All of these were actually based off very high-end. Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And the DJs are in-house only, they're not outside DJs, correct?
Yes, that's correct. It's not promoted events, it's not anything like that. It was, again, this was based off of very high-end Midtown restaurants, and we wanted to kind of take that and, bring it over to Lower East Side.
So it sounds like it's more curated music than a DJ.
Yes. Yeah.
Who's going to be doing it? An employee?
We'll have a resident, it'll pretty much be like a playlist or something. It's not gonna be like a new person every night. That's way too far out, but it'll definitely be an in-house person. And, just a comment, I'm happy to put both of those in the basement only if that's something that makes everyone feel better.
And are you proposing like the DJs and the live music at background level, entertainment level?
Background level.
Well, background level, yeah. I don't think entertainment level is way too
I'll
much.
stipulate to that. Absolutely background.
Yeah.
And not doing entertainment level, Clint. I think actually it's a good idea. I saw one of the residents suggested it, that the DJ and the live music both be confined to the basement.
No,
Yeah, I saw that. I agree with it.
It's not necessary, so I can tell you that's not necessarily okay.
Yeah.
Because sound travels
Can't
slow.
faces.
I have right on 4th Street right now. Can't hear me? I have right down the block right now, even with an acoustic engineer, where we have music in the basement and it travels throughout the whole building. So without it being tested by a sound engineer, I would not assume that it's not going to spread through the building.
Right, because you got the elevator shaft as well as.
All kinds of shafts.
Have you spoken to a sound engineer at all?
I was actually told
No,
it has some of the sound. I was actually told by the broker it has some of the best like soundproofing in the city, but I'm willing to soundproof it even further and get a sound engineer in there if that makes everyone feel better.
I would actually say you shouldn't plan on using it in the basement until you get the sound engineer there and test it. Because it depends on the building. Some buildings will be great and some will be terrible.
I'm happy to get a sound engineer, run some tests, see what decibels work, what decibels don't. Again, I'm willing to work with the residents. And I want them to become regulars. I want them to come down to actually have a nice dinner meal and actually see what we're trying to do. So
I have a question for you, and it sounds like you haven't worked with a sound engineer, you haven't met with the residents at all. It doesn't sound like.
So this was, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Would you be willing to withdraw for this month, meet with the residents, and also meet with the sound engineer to determine what that basement is like in terms of the sound? Because if a sound engineer were able to tell us that could be isolated to the basement, I think that would make most of us more comfortable. And I think also a meeting with the residents might help a lot of issues. I mean, as I said earlier, we heard a lot of issues with the residents about previous businesses. We know you're not a previous business. We know you're not associated. It doesn't sound like they know that at all.
Right.
This is a question. I'm not saying either way. It's a question. Is that something you'd be willing to do?
I need to speak with Frank. So this whole thing, the reason we haven't had a chance to meet with them and everything, this sort of brought to me pretty abruptly by the broker. And the way he explained it was there was an opportunity to acquire this business. I think the space is beautiful. It's, just the build out is gorgeous. And the way he pitched it was I could kind of come in, reassign the lease, take it over, or they were going to get new partners for Stone Pizza and continue Stone Pizza. So we didn't really have the time to do that. I'm very open to it. I just want to make sure it doesn't affect the current deal in place. And then, but if...
Stone really not allowed to be there. So even if they're promising that, now that it's made public, there's a good chance that Stone Pizza can be shut down. So I wouldn't bank on what the broker says in that case.
Oh, okay. So again, I'm getting my knowledge from, I'm getting this stuff from him. If the deal still exists a month from now, then I'd be happy to do that. I just want to make sure that it doesn't kind of mess anything up. But again, I'm happy to put any of this stuff in writing. I'm happy to...
Eddie, can I interrupt you?
Yeah, sure.
I've been before this community board every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
When Clint makes can I say suggestion, Clint? When Clint makes a suggestion like that, it's usually in your best interest to do it.
Okay.
People will end up with a resolution you will not be happy with.
Okay. Well, then I'm gonna...
But enough, right?
I'm gonna, I'll accept that. And again, I wasn't insinuating anything with that suggestion, it was literally a question.
No, I don't, I'm not saying you are. I just know that if you're asking us to meet with the neighbors, I always think it's a good idea to meet with the neighbors.
The reason I was asking is because right now, I'm hearing a lot of, I mean, I appreciate you're willing to work with us, Ed, that goes a long way. Yeah. But it sounds like you have a lot that kind of isn't solidified yet. And I would really like to hear a little bit more of what your exact plans are for the space. And again, I appreciate you're willing to work with us, but I'd love you to come back and say, I've talked to the neighbors, I've talked to the sound engineer, this is what I definitely want to do, and this is what we're going to do. I think that would go a long way with me, making me feel a little more confident in what you're planning.
Yeah, I really
That's
fine.
Your meeting us halfway on so many different things, and I think taking maybe some time to reassess and talk to the tenants, talk to the residents. I think you can reach something that will really fit your vision and really, be what you want it to be, rather than us hammering something out right now. 11:30 at night, you come back in a few weeks, and then have a really, and in that same vein, this won't be voted on by our full board until September anyways. So in some ways, putting this off a month, you're not going any further until September anyways. So if it's something you want to do, it's 11:30, I don't think we need to talk about this anymore. If you're willing to withdraw, Frank, send an email to the office, withdrawing.
Just one question. I will do that. Just one question. Listen, do I have to re-notify? Or you use that yellow slip you used to use?
You just send Ed an email.
Just send an email, we don't have to have a form this time.
Yeah, send it a form, but you do not have to do it by return receipt or anything.
No,
Just email him the 30-day form and tell him what.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for waiting till 11 p.m. to withdraw, but thank you. Thank you so much. Hope to see you again, we'll hopefully see you next month.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. One more.